Hello and welcome back to The Dawn Plays. This is not another rebuild, where we analyse what Ten Hag's had to deal with. In the previous episode, we have looked at the expectations for the club, the players at his disposal, and the tactics that we're going to use. In this episode, we're going to look at the coaching staff. So let's get straight into it. So a lot has been made of the coaching staff at Man United. If you ever watch any pundits, everyone's got their say, and everyone speaks about how it's a bunch of ex-players that they have in there. So we're going to look at what Football Manager has as the background staff. From the overview, everything looks relatively good. They have the highest average staff for defending and attack, as well as tactical and set pieces, with the rest of them not far off. So everything for the coaching team looks pretty good. The recruitment team, again, it's the highest average in the Premier League. We can see we've got 31 scouts. This makes you wonder why some of the recruitment hasn't been better, especially we've got 31 scouts, 12 recruitment analysts. And for the medical staff, that's okay considering they're over max for physios. We're not the highest average in the Premier Division. We only have 2 sports scientists, and it looks like there's a bit of improvement that could be done there. So let's get into the coaching team. So straight off the bat, we can see we've got a lot of performance analysts. We only actually have 2 primary coaches, 2 goalkeeping coaches, we've got 3 fitness coaches, we've got 2 assistant managers, and a head of youth development. So if we actually get into it, Darren Fletcher, for technical director, he's only got a judging staff ability of 13 and a negotiating skill of 10. So there's a lot of play that we have there to improve that. And if we go back and move down to Stephen Clarence as assistant manager, he's got okay, I'd say average, judging player and potential abilities. Mitchell van der Gag, let's have a look at what he has. Again, he looks average, he's got 14s. Man United, you would be expecting to have the top coaches available. Nick Cox, head of youth development. He is the standout so far. Looking through this list, he has working with youngsters 20 and ability and potential judging at 16 and 18, which is pretty good. And if we look at some of the key stats for Football Manager, we can see his determination's 18, motivation's 18. He's got good people management, fairly adaptable. His discipline is not that high, but overall, it's a very good coach. We have Craig Mawson as goalkeeping coach. Again, he's okay, he's decent. Hartis, he's decent, but his discipline could be a lot better. This is something we'd probably look to improve based on the sort of media reports of the lack of discipline in the squad. We probably want to just get coaches which are all pretty disciplined in the future and really get rid of all of that out of the squad. Moving on to Mike Clegg, we've got a fitness coach, 17, decent mental abilities. Charlie Owen, again, decent fitness ability, not much discipline, and relatively low mental abilities. Paulo Gaudinho, decent fitness ability, again, pretty low mental abilities, which is pretty important in Football Manager. Benny McCarthy is a coach. Again, we can see that discipline is lacking in this one. He's got decent for attacking, which is expected since he was a attacker. Decent technical, again he's quite technical. Eric Ramsley, he's a set piece coach. And he looks relatively average, to be fair, but he does have better mental abilities than the other coaches. Head of performance analyst, Paul Brand. He is, again, he's got quite good ability for analysing the data and the ability of the players. Tactical knowledge is okay, his determination is relatively low. Luke Lazenby, pretty average. Lewis Rhodes, probably one you'd want to get rid of straight away. Rob Page, pretty good at analysing the data. Tactical knowledge, not very good. Well, we can say average again. Tom Green, good analysis skills, average tactical knowledge. Adam Warburton, again, average analysing data and average tactical knowledge. Peter Morel, 15 and 16, so he's okay. Keita Hasegawa, 13 and 11, again, one we probably look to improve upon. Look right, very low. Analysing data, what's the point? Tactical knowledge, 13. Yeah. I think there's significant improvement that could be made in this squad. So we know Steve McLaren came in with Eric Ten Hag. Darren Fletcher's been there for some time. You can see his favourite personnel, Alex Ferguson from his time there, John O'Shea, Wayne Rooney, all people who played for the club while he was there. This is the part that I will find quite interesting, because we know people were expecting when Ten Hag came in for Man United to be playing possession-based, attacking football, but predominantly over the last few years it's been counter-attacking football. So I was quite interested in what the preferences are for the players in this situation. So Darren Fletcher likes his defensive line to defend the box, defensive numbers to counter-attack, attack numbers balanced, defensive marking balanced. So this is one we can already see, which is a bit more of a counter-attacking. If you're a top of the table team, do you want to counter-attack? Obviously when opportunity arises, but do we want to see, something else? Steve McLaren, again, he likes to counter-attack, defense numbers. This is interesting. He likes to play the high line, which is, what we thought Eric Ten Hag would be doing, which is why he also brought in Onana. We haven't really seen that come to fruition yet, but at least this is a coach who is along the same thinking. Mitchell van der Gaag. Defense numbers, he likes to defend the box. Again, we've got a difference here. We've got two counter-attacking. Now we've got defend the box. Defend transition. Now we can see Nick Cox again, counter-attacking when defending. Pretty balanced approach. Craig Mawson likes to defend the box, but he does like a high line. Richard Hartis, just defend the box, pure defensive. Mick Clegg, high line, attack the box with attacking numbers. Charlie Owen, defend the box, balanced approach. Defend the box, attack the box, and attack numbers. This is the one that I'm predominantly looking at the moment. It's how attacking are these teams really, or how much are we going to commit forward, and how high is the defensive line going to be? And we're seeing very mixed approaches from all the coaches that we've looked at so far. Ben McCarthy is extremely balanced. Eric Ramsey, high line, defend the box, defend transition. And we'll just quickly skim through these, because there's not much point in looking through the performance analysts, because they aren't the ones who are really going to affect. They're not really going to affect the actual team. It would be good if you had all these people all thinking along the same lines. You can see that actually these, interestingly, these ones actually do want to play the high line. The ones that are flicked through. Got balance, but two there. High lane. So most of these so far want to play the high lane. High lane. But the actual coaching staff, very mixed. But there's definitely a lot to be played with in here. If you want to create a cohesive team, you've got people that want to defend the box, you've got people who want to play high line. It's not really, who are you going to listen to here? And then I think there's in terms of the football manager, there's some marginal gains to be made there by having people who are all on that same mentality. Because you're still going to get good results. If you're actually playing this game, you've got decent coaches. I said the goalkeeping coaches definitely need some work from the looks of it. We'll have a look in a second. But in terms of everything else, you're going to get good results, because in terms of overall output from the coaches, they are at high level. But to gain some marginal boost, I'd say you can definitely gain that by getting everyone on the same page. But it's not something you would have to do immediately and spend all like spend a large part of the budget sacking these coaches off. For instance, if we want to terminate his contract, he's going to cost us $500,000. I wouldn't be particularly worried about that straight away. His actual contract is going to, for instance, like if we just pick one, his contract, for instance, Lewis Road's contract is going to end in 2027. We're in it's 4 years. See that he's going to cost you 1.1 million. I think that kind of stuff is going to take a long time to sort out. You're going to want to get mainly these guys up to spec. So let's get into coaching assignments and see if there's anything we can do off the bat just to improve things. So goalkeeping is heavy, so we can easily sort this a little bit. We can have Craig Mawson on handling and Tommy Lee splitting across them both, which just brings down this to average workload and just gives us a 4-star. So having had a little bit of a play around with these staff and look around, there are marginal gains to be had with playing with some of these allocations. However, the set pieces seems to be an issue. The workload isn't an issue, which is a good thing. But I'm going to leave it like this, which everything's relatively high. Defending, technical and tactical seems to be a bit low at 3-star. But yeah, this is where I'm going to leave it. So yeah, I would definitely look at just getting everyone on the same page, bring them some better coaches, and not just looking at the overall stats, which is say things are good, going behind that hood and just having a little bit of a clear out, getting that sorted, and you get some marginal gains there. I don't think it's all cohesive to playing the ball out from the back, and that's going to be a longer term project to sort. Now if we get into this recruitment team, we had John Murtaugh as the director of football. Pretty average considering it's Man United. You can attract a much higher standard director of football in this. 14, 15 and negotiating 11 is not great. Darren Fletcher, technical director, we didn't just touch on him. 13 judging staff ability and only 10 negotiating. Definitely improvements that could be made there. Steve Brown as chief scout. It's not bad, it's good, but you can do better. Peter Silke, again, he's pretty good. His ability's good, and both of these. The one thing about Peter Silke is his level of discipline. He's quite adaptable, he's determined. Discipline could be better just for finding the players here. Same could be said for Chief Brown. He's pretty good, he's got average mentals, decent knowledge. 19, he's good. Roy Bucamp, he's good, apart from the discipline. Not very adaptable, you'd have to have him more from his country of origin at 9 adaptability. Try and maximise the use out of him, but again, he's decent. Decent Scott Donnelly, probably do better. Good at potential. Pablo Budna, decent for the potential again. Schmeller, he's good. He's one of the best ones so far. Coulter, not bad, pretty good for the potential players. 18, 19, yeah. He's good. Okay, average. He's pretty good again. Disciplines, disappointing. Discipline, disappointing. He's pretty good, but his adaptability is poor. So again, you probably want to keep him in his native country, looking for players rather than sending them all across the world. The scouting team again looks pretty decent. The thing about this, I would say, is you can find better scouts, but you have 31 of them, and if you get rid of 11 of them, you won't be able to rehire the 11. So it's probably, in terms of the game, if you want to maximise finding players, you're probably best keeping them and playing to their strengths. So the ones who are not very adaptable, keeping their native country. So unless they're really bad, they might be worth keeping around, because you can get them scouted by the people who are not as good, and then have your chief scout do another layer of scouting on top of that. But everything looks okay. Definitely improvements can be made. Could be worth keeping the people who are not as good around just for numbers. If we go back to staff, we can see the medical team. So this season in particular, there has been a lot of injuries for Manchester United, and that has had a massive part on how the season has panned out. I don't think really the full squad has been able to play most of the season. I think they're starting to come back in now. Casemiro's just starting to come back in. Lisandro Martinez. There's not really been a striker. Højlund, I think, was even injured for a part. They had no fullbacks for a lot of the early games in the season. Shaw was injured. The other left back, Malacia, was also injured. So it's been a bit of a tough one this season. So let's have a look at the medical staff. We can check the head physio, Robin Sadler. So, yep, top physio. Top of sports science. Again, maybe the mental attributes would be nicer. Gary Armour, he is decent. Yep, top. Good. Good. Mental attributes could be better here. Yep. Sports scientist. We could maybe do... Sports scientist is good, but we can do better. We've actually got room for another 2. We are 1 over on physios. All these are pretty decent. Mental attributes could be improved upon. But you get rid of one, you can't rehire one. It's something to take into consideration. It's a broad overview. I don't think there's too much wrong here. Just to go back over it, the coaching staff, they're not all on the same page. You get some that want to defend the box, you get some that want to play high line. I would get rid of the defend the box, get that high line in there if that's the way we're going. Totally sort that. That, again, could be a longer term project, because do you really want to spend $500,000 to $1 million getting rid of some staff members? That's a question. Or do you want to put that into the kitty for players when the kitty is pretty light at the moment? For the scouting team, there are some which can definitely be improved upon, but again, you've got so many over the limit. You could try raising the limit, but you're not going to be able to rehire the 11 or so who are below par. The top areas I would definitely look at shipping out. So John Murtaugh, I think you can get some better stats there. Technical director Darren Fletcher, definitely want to get him out in this game. That's who I would be prioritising getting out. I wouldn't rush to get rid of these scouts just because of the number issue. Medical team, yeah, I think they're all pretty decent, so no rush here. Maybe just sort out how, get a couple more sports scientists. Oh, and there's a room for another coach in there. So we can see why we're not really playing the high press, lots of passing football, high line. We have some issues in the coaching department, but I don't think that's going to affect the game. So that's where I think there's going to be gains. I think Manchester United will play better in this game than what they would have done with everything that Ten Hag's got going on. I think it would be marginal, the difference that that makes here in comparison to the real life scenarios. I hope that you found this episode interesting. If you have, please smash that like button. Think about subscribing. Everything would really help the channel. A comment would be fantastic with, what you'd like to see going forward, what maybe we should comment on, and see you in the next episode.